This is Maui Community College, with a world of knowledge here at home.
Aloha and welcome back to General Pharmacology. This is our fifth lecture of the semester, so I'm going to ramble on about more pharmacology today. We'll talk a little bit about math next time, just a little bit about math. And then after that, Exam 1 will get started, and you should notice a similarity between Exam 1 and all the stuff you did with the quiz. But you can always read the syllabus if you want to know all about that stuff. And the instructions for the exam will come up in announcements, they'll come up in the chat room, they'll come on your email when all that gets started. But I won't talk about them in here. So we'll get started with the PowerPoint slides, even more basic pharmacology. We'll go back and repeat myself just a little bit. Talked about volume of distribution when everybody's eyes were closing and giving me blank stares. So we'll come back and talk about it just a little bit again while everyone's still awake. The volume of distribution is the amount of drug in the body relative to the concentration of drug in systemic blood. Those of you who are going to be professional pharmacologists and rocket scientists in pharmacology probably need to understand this concept because there's a lot of math involved. So if we give a drug, and this drug is absorbed and completely distributed to every cell in the body, this is a very large volume of distribution because remember our volume of distribution is the amount of drug in the body relative to the concentration in systemic blood. So if I give a drug and the drug goes everywhere, that's a very large volume of distribution. If I give this drug and the drug is absorbed and just stays in the blood, doesn't go anywhere else, not absorbed by any of the other cells, just stays in the blood, that's a small volume of distribution. About as well as I think I can explain that. The major compartments involved in the volume of distribution have to do with the major compartments of the body that they told you all about in physiology, which all of you must have a thorough understanding of according to the catalog. But the major compartments are water, fat, and down in fine print that says bone. So most of you knew that the body is made up of mostly water and some fat and a little bit of bone, all right, relative to weight. And so the major compartments, water is one of the major compartments of the body. The total body water is about 0.6 of a liter, 0.6 liters per kilogram of body weight. The extracellular fluid that's outside of the cells, that's about 0.2 liters per kilogram. Blood contains about 0.08 liters per kilogram, and plasma 0.04 liters per kilogram. Those are all per kilogram of body weight. And so I just put those in there just so I'd have a big PowerPoint slide full of numbers and so I could get people looking at me wondering what it was that I was talking about. Water is a major compartment for volume of distribution. That's why earlier we talked about drugs either being water soluble or fat soluble. And that is going to translate into its volume of distribution. The major fat compartments are the brain, believe it or not. Your brain's made of mostly fat. That's all the insulation around the little neurons. The neurons are the cells that communicate, and they're all insulated like wires. And that wire insulation is made up of fat. So brain is a major fat or lipid compartment. The adipose tissue, that's just fat, what everyone calls fat, that's adipose tissue. And then the cell membranes of your body, those phospholipids, that's a major fat compartment as well. And then these weights per kilogram were left out of Katzung Clinical Pharmacology, so I didn't have them to put on my PowerPoint slide. If you have these, you can email them to me. So if a drug is able to penetrate all of these compartments, the water and the fat, the brain, the adipose tissue, that's a large volume of distribution. If you take scuba diving, learn about nitrogen off-gassing. They talk about all these compartments. Simple enough when you take scuba diving. It's more difficult when you take pharmacology.